Hey everyone, Draco Magnius here for another episode of 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. In the last episode, we got out of a cold situation, i.e. a freezer, and we came into this new room. Perhaps we'll meet the others here, perhaps in a new location we'll meet them, but we're going to keep moving forward. They stepped out of the kitchen and into a hallway that looked rather familiar. A metal grate stretched from wall to wall. Beyond it were 2 elevators and the entrance to the kitchen. They had entered the kitchen from one door and come out the other. That meant their map of the ship's interior was accurate. Well, thank God for that. If it wasn't, we'd be in kind of a shit situation. They laid the map out in front of them and began to discuss their next step. There were 4 possible routes. Oh boy. A, B, C, and D. First, A and B. A and B both seemed to connect to an L-shaped room. However, the 2 doors that led to the room were both locked and could not be opened. Well, I guess that cancels out A and B, so that just leaves C and D. Next was Route C. This goes all the way to the main staircase. But that means it's door 5, one of the numbered doors. Then, do you think we would meet up with the other 4 after this hallway? No, I don't think we will. Why not? Look. There, by the stairs. See how the gate is open? When we went into the kitchen, it was closed. But it's open now. What do you think that means? They opened it? Most likely. Then if we take Route C, we're going backwards. That would be pointless. Then that means... They all looked at the map. Well, it seems like D is the right path, but there's a possibility he might want us to backtrack. Although there's also the possibility that that's just going to be pointless and we'll have to loop back through. And we'll waste time by doing that, and that is something we do not have. So the most logical choice would be D. They all looked at the staircase, its lazy curve leading down deeper into the ship. Route D, then. D it is. Yep, Route D. Then we're set. Yeah, seems like the most logical conclusion. Unless he wants to play us for fools, and then, no, if he went back, he would have gotten a key that was useful for another area. They jogged down the stairs until they reached the C deck. Just to be sure, they kept going to check the deck beneath. Yeah, just like I thought. Deck D is totally underwater. Just like the bottom of the central staircase. Well, yeah, what were you expecting? Were you expecting there to not be water just there, like he sealed this area off? He was like, no, I don't want you to go to D-Deck, except for that one area of D-Deck. You can go there. The water gazed back at them, its smooth surface like a great mirror. As ominous as it was, Junpei took at least some comfort in the fact that the level hadn't gone up much since the last time they had seen it. He had seen it, rather. They turned back to C deck. It didn't take them long to find the 2 elevators in front of the stairs. They looked identical to the elevators on the top floor, with one exception. These elevators had a card reader on the wall between them. On the card reader was a strange mark. Is that Mercury? No, that's Venus, I want to say? Hey, look! It's Lotus's symbol. Huh? See, it's the woman's symbol with a thorn on it. That seems like... Ouch, 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 ouch! Lotus had taken a hold of Junpei's hair. She began to shake him violently, and he thought he heard a low growl coming from her throat. Such violence. Junpei began to wonder if she was not the devil itself. Well, you shouldn't have said anything. With an uncomfortable smile, June spoke up. This is a Mercury symbol. Oh, I was right. Huh. I thought it might be Venus because part of it's the female symbol, I think, but, I was actually right on my first guess. Damn. The thorn symbolizes the wings on Hermes' staff. Hermes, herpes, whatever. If we can't get this thing to work, these elevators aren't going anywhere. I don't think herpes and Hermes are the same at all, Santa. In other words, we need a key card with the Mercury symbol on it. Probably. Okay, so I guess we're looking for it. They gave up on the elevator and returned to the stairs. The hallway stretched out to the left. A hallway, rather. A great many doors lined both sides of the hallway. Oh boy. They weren't sure how many, but certainly enough to be discouraging. Damn it. If we try and search all of these, the sun's gonna go down before we've done. Isn't the sun already down? Don't you mean go up? Done half of them. I think the sun already set. Ah, my thought exactly. I have a feeling this ship is the only thing that's going to be going down anytime. Oh, no, that's Junpei. Going down anytime soon. That's even worse! Well, we can come back to this hallway later. Let's check the hallway on the other side, shall we? Sure. Frustration and fear building, they walked back to the stairs. To their right was a small hallway. Quickly, they headed into it. Oh, this is much better. Only like 4 doors to check in a hallway. Quickly, they headed into it. I already read that. It was approximately the same size as the alcove in front of the stairs. The hallway led toward the stern, and at its end was a set of double doors. Oh. Let's open it. Junpei nodded and grabbed the one closest to him. Jeez, I am fumbling all over myself. He gave it a small tug and felt it move. It was unlocked. Thrilled to have found an unlocked door, he threw it open. And then there were zombies on the other side! Ah! Because Resident Evil. Junpei didn't know what to make of what he saw. A bunch of beds, a 3-door, and a 7-door. Oh, and an 8-door. Dang, we have 3 different choices to make this time. He simply stood, unable to speak. The others simply stared, open-mouthed. After a few long moments, Santa managed to speak. What the hell is this? Well, if I had to hazard a guess, it's the next 3 doors, in a room that appears to be either steerage, where the crew of the ship would work, and, where the people who worked on the ship would sleep, or it's the, what's the name of it? It's on the tip of my tongue. The lower class people that were on the Titanic. Steerage? Or did I just say steerage and that was the workers? It's been a while since nautical terms. I've used them. It's been a while since I've used them. A massive room stretched out in front of them, more a cavern than a room. Its vastness was oppressive, and it bore down on the 4 companions. It was not empty, however. The entire room was filled with lines upon lines of beds. They were simple things, little more than pipe and thin mattress. Is this a hospital? That was actually going to be my next guess. My 3 guesses were steerage, where the poor people slept, and a hospital. Considering the amount of beds, it was possible that this could be, like, for an infirmary. He had at last been able to put a name to the harsh scent that pervaded the room. The room swam with the harsh, biting smell of antiseptic. Then it is indeed a hospital. In the center of the room were shelves stacked with medicine, and a number of medical devices, the function of which Junpei did not know. More importantly, however, on the back wall of the room were 4 doors. 4! Oh my god, we have so many choices. 3 of them were emblazoned with large single-digit numbers made with thick red paint. Or blood. The door on the left was labeled 3. The second door from the left had no number. Oh? But the third had been given a 7. And the rightmost door had an 8. There could be no doubt they were numbered doors, aside from the one that didn't have one. It did strike Junpei as strange, however, that the door between 3 and 7 should be blank. I guess that's a free room, a room where everyone can go into. It could either A, be a trap that's destined to kill us all, or B, some special thing that we might need for later. What, he wondered, could it mean? Let's take a look at the doors. Yes, that sounds like a good plan. Junpei headed toward the doors, weaving his way between the beds. He started with door 3 on the left, and moved to the right until he reached door 8. Oh, that door's locked too? So I guess it's just totally irrelevant. Or it's a mystery door where a certain number will unlock it. It's no use. Well, of course. If it was that easy to open these doors, what would the point of the nonary game? What would be the point of the nonary game? We have to activate the red, or the numbered doors won't... Wait a minute. What's wrong? Look at the display on the red. There's nothing on it. Huh? Oh, yeah, she's right. Don't you remember? The red at the central staircase. If no one was inside it, it said vacant. Oh yeah, you're right. But this one doesn't have anything. There's nothing on it, right? I wonder if it's broken. Only one way to find out, rather. Well, it seems all we've accomplished by that was making us look stupid. Good work, everybody. It didn't respond. All 4 took turns placing their hands over the red, but it refused to respond. They pulled the lever, and still it did nothing. As they soon discovered, it wasn't only the red for door 8 that was behaving strangely. The red on door 7 also refused to respond. And door 3 was similarly silent. None of them would respond. What did it mean? I guess it means that we need to, like, power those reds, or alternatively, maybe there's, like, a secret to solving this room to get them to work? Or maybe we need everyone to be here at once before they activate. Haha, I knew it. They're broken. Zero sure sucks at maintenance. No, that's impossible. You really think Zero, who prepared all of this, would make such a stupid, simple mistake? Maybe, but that doesn't explain why this thing ain't working. It was at that moment they heard a voice from behind them. I believe the bottom of the device has been removed. They spun around to see... Snake! But it was more than just Snake. Ace, Clover, and Seven quickly filed into the room as well. Although they were glad to see one another, it wasn't terribly surprising that they had. If it hadn't been the other party who'd opened the gate in front of the kitchen, it wasn't unreasonable that they'd bump into one another eventually. Well, they had to. I mean, there's more doors than just them. The rest of Snake's team, however, did look rather surprised. How? How did you end up here? We went through the puzzles? After a moment of silence and surprise, everyone suddenly began to talk, desperate to exchange information. They talked about the rooms they'd been through and how they ended up in the same place. Of course, none of it was very useful information, but that hardly mattered. Yeah, really, it's just trying to figure out what exactly happened to get us from point A to B. They were happy to simply see one another again. Although the level of cheer varied greatly from person to person, each one of them was wearing some manner of smile. Almost as though they had already forgotten about the death of the ninth man. Well, he was an asshole. Who cares about that guy? Sure, he exploded into bits and might have known something the rest of us didn't, but whatever. Oh, they're showing the image again. Are they trying to desensitize me to the mass amount of blood or something? No, thought Junpei. Perhaps that wasn't it. Perhaps thoughts of his death were what drove them to smile at one another. Not in a morbid or hateful way, no. The ninth man had died. But they were still alive, and that was something to be happy about. A sort of simple, uncomplicated joy, Junpei thought. The joy of being alive. Still alive. He felt sorry for the ninth man, but more than anything, Junpei was just happy to be alive. Yeah, gotta take what you can. You're in a pretty abysmal situation right now. There you have it, our half of the story. His part finished, Ace fell silent. But I want to hear their part of the story. I want to hear about their room and what they may or may not have found on that guy. For a moment, Junpei was silent in thought when he spoke. Oh good, they're gonna cover it. Okay, let me see if I've got this all this straight. When you guys got here, the bases for the Reds were already gone. And you looked all over this room, but you couldn't find anything? So you figured that there must be something in the hallway with all the doors. So you went and had a look? Yeah. And while you were looking around, you heard voices. Uh-huh. So you followed the voices and came back here. Indeed. And that was how we found you. Junpei examined the three Reds again, just in case. Yeah, it's missing the bottom. On the bottom of each was a long, thin gap. It looked like a slot for something. Probably something electronic. No! Really? I thought it would be for food. Well, this isn't good. If the Red is inactive, we can't keep going. Well, what about the hallway over there? Isn't there anywhere else we can go? No, there isn't. There are plenty more hospital rooms, but nothing else. Hospital rooms? That's what's behind all those doors? Yes. There are a number of individual rooms in addition to this large one. There was a door at the end of the hallway, but it was locked. There was an astrological symbol engraved near the keyhole, however. I was able to get a good, feel of it. I believe there was a symbol of Jupiter. Isn't that the key we have? Not again. Those goddamn things are everywhere. I wonder what they all mean. For a moment, everyone was silent, deep in thought. While we're asking about what those things mean, what's the deal with this room? I mean, I thought this was a cruise ship. I can't imagine a cruise ship would have a hospital like this. Well, why not? People can get injured on a ship very easily, in fact. Especially an old ship. Of all people, it was Seven who answered, with calm confidence. Well, I figure it's probably a hospital ship. Chances are it's the Gigantic. The Gigantic? Junpei looked confused. So did everyone else. What is this Gigantic? Seven knit his brows for a moment, then began to explain. The Gigantic. He explained that she had been sister to the... Jesus, I ruined everything there. He explained that she had been a sister ship to the Titanic, built in the early 20th century. The Titanic had two sister ships, who were identical to another in nearly every aspect. The Gigantic was said to be one of them. She was initially intended to be a passenger liner, like the Titanic, but soon after the ship was launched, the First World War had began, and she was pressed into duty by the British Navy as a hospital ship. Sometime later, the Gigantic was damaged by a German mine in the Aegean Sea. She managed to run aground after the incident and consequently was not sunk. What then happened to the Gigantic after her fateful encounter in the Aegean Sea? One theory ran that a man named Lord Gordian purchased her. So he might have Zero's identity? Lord Gordian, it seemed, had been one of the few survivors of the Titanic tragedy, and that trauma had turned him into an obsessive collector of all things related to the Titanic. As his obsession deepened, he began to desire the Titanic itself. That, of course, was impossible. The Titanic lay in the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, and until the future happened and they had the access to such things, that was clearly not going to happen. The Gigantic, however, had not suffered such a dire fate, and as she was identical to her sister ship, she caught Lord Gordian's eye. And by the way, to explain myself a bit more, I'm not saying Lord Gordian is the one who, Zero is, because that would be ridiculous. Well, not really, he'd just be a really old man. But I'm thinking either Lord Gordian or one of his children or grandchildren or whatever is probably Zero's identity right now. So you're saying this Lord Gordian bought this ship? Yeah. At least I think I am. That's impossible! No way we're in some boat that's almost 100 years old! Why is that impossible? Boats can last long if they're kept well. Pipe down, just pay attention. What is it? Well, have you got any proof? Proof? Proof that this ship is really the Gigantic. Well, this ship's got stuff that's like the Titanic and a hospital ship. So I just figured. Oh, for goodness, don't tell me that's your only reason. Well, it's pretty sound logic. I mean, in absence of proof, that's a pretty good assumption to make. No, I've got more. Like? Well, I mean... Seven looked around desperately, doing anything to avoid meeting Lotus's piercing stare. He scratched his head for a moment, then gave up. Finally, he opened his mouth. I don't know. Lotus sighed and shook her head. I guess your memory isn't back yet, is it? Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, wait a minute! Memory isn't back! Junpei was, he felt, legitimately shocked by what seemed to be new and very important information. Everyone else, however, seemed unimpressed. In fact, they all looked at Junpei as though he had said something very strange. He decided to revise his attitude for the next question. Wait, was I the only one that didn't know? Everyone nodded. Why? Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't tell you, huh? I told the rest of them before we ran into you on the stairs. I told them I couldn't remember a damn thing from before I woke up. What? Now how did he tell us about when Zero abducted him? Did he just remember that? Oh no, I understand. He actually said, my story is pretty much the same as yours. Because he didn't remember what happened exactly. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Then, almost as if to save Junpei from further embarrassment, a bell began to ring from far away. It sounded as though it was the clock at the main stairway that we can somehow hear a floor down inside a room where the door is shut through a floor of metal and other building material. That stands to scrutiny. Maybe it's a really loud clock. Junpei counted each chime carefully. 10, 11, 12. It's midnight. And we've still got 6 hours left, right? We don't have time to screw around. Let's get going. We've got to find the missing parts for the Reds. What do you mean find? How on earth do you propose we do that? We've looked everywhere in this room. That only leaves one place to look. One? Well, I guess that's not really right. Question mark? Wait! Oh, well, wait! Don't tell me... You mean we need to search all of those other rooms? All the other rooms? I'm all over myself, I'm sorry. Don't freak out. We already searched 4 of them. 4 rooms? We just have to split up the rest between the 8 of us. That will get it done a lot faster. If each person does 6 rooms, that'll be 48 rooms, right? So there are 48 rooms left? Her early experiences had apparently not encouraged Lotus to trust Seven. Seven scratched his head awkwardly. No. After a little more discussion, they split up and headed towards the rooms to begin searching them. Junpei was chosen to search the rooms on the starboard side, moving from fore to aft. They also determined that they would return to report their findings next time the clocks sounded the time. When it did, they would meet back in the large central room full of beds. If during their search any one of them were to locate the missing components, they were to yell for the others. If this strategy failed, they'd return to discuss their options later. The details decided, they left to begin searching. Into the hallway they went, each to the rooms they had been assigned. However, from far away, Junpei heard the bell ring. It did so only once. It was 1 a.m. He jogged through the entrance of the large hospital room to find 6 of the others already there. I think with that we're going to end this episode here. In the next episode, we'll find out what the others had found or didn't find, depending on the situation. See you guys then.